What's up, guys? We are here outside Mad River Card Club in Dayton, Ohio for episode number 5 of our poker blog. Wanted to switch it up a little bit, new location. I definitely want to travel and make these at a lot of different places at some point. It's kind of hard for me to travel right now. So for now, I'm just going to try to kind of make them locally, any places around here. I was here a few weeks ago for a 200,000 guaranteed tournament, and I noticed that this 5-5 game looked super juicy. A lot of really deep stacks and just actiony looking players. So I wanted to come up here and make the next vlog, episode 5, for here. I was supposed to get here at 4 o'clock, but there was a thunderstorm and a lot of traffic, so I got here like 4:15. So I'm second on the list. So got a little bit of time here to kill. But the game is 5-5 with a $5 big blind ante, so it's basically 5-10. Gonna play like 5-10, and I'm just gonna play till about 12, maybe 1 a.m., maybe a little earlier even, since we're starting a little earlier. And it's gonna let the game come to us and just play our game. So let's get in there and try to crush some souls. Decided to play some 1-2 while we waited for our seat at the other game to open up. So in this game for $250, and this is the only real meaningful hand that we played toward the end of that session. Early position makes it 15 and middle position calls. We put in the 3-bet to 70 with ace-king offsuit from the cutoff, ace of hearts, king of spades, and both players end up calling. Both pretty loose, splashy players, especially middle position. He's played basically every hand. On the flop here, 9-4-4 with 2 diamonds, pretty dry, disconnected flop. I see no reason to bet. We have good showdown value here and could have the best hand. On the turn here, same deal. I don't want to bet here and get blown off my equity. We could easily have the best hand here. And on the river, wheat river, top pair, top kicker, but it does put a 4-liner to the flush. Early position checks. And now middle position randomly bets 120. And I find it hard to believe he has the king or queen of diamonds, because most of those hands would have been some type of combo draw on the turn. And I definitely think we would have heard about it on the turn here. And early position player seems very uninterested in the hand, has snap checked every street. So I don't think they're doing anything. And like I said, I really just don't buy that middle position has the king or queen of diamonds, or really any diamond here for that matter. So after thinking it over here for a bit, we do eventually put in the call, and both players end up mucking, and we take down this hand. So ended up profiting $152 in an hour and a half. So nice little session before moving over to the 5-5 game, where we buy in for $750. Every 30 minutes they play 2 bomb pots for $25 each. So we bleed away about $200 here. And this is the first meaningful hand we will record here. The top board is ace-10-3 rainbow, and the bottom board is 9-7-6 with 2 hearts. And we got the rockets here, so we got top set on that pretty dry flop, and the other flop is super connected, so nothing else to do here other than pot. So we bet 225 from early position. And the whole table pretty quickly folds, so no resistance here, and gets us pretty much back to even. There is a whole bunch of straddles on this next hand. Here you can pretty much just continuously straddle around the table, and it's still a live straddle. So there's a straddle up to $80. Nothing else to do other than raise here on the button with king-queen offsuit, so we bump it up to $250. Folds around to the $40 straddle, who thinks it over and folds. And the $80 straddle, pretty loose actiony player, puts in the call. So heads up to the flop here, 585 in the pot here as we head to the flop. The flop is ace king jack with 2 spades, so a little excited to see that king there in the window. Definitely didn't like that ace, but with this SPR there's just no move other than all in. I think he would have just probably ripped with most aces pre-flop, so I don't really think he has an ace. I want to charge flush draws or some type of draw if he has it. And he pretty quickly folds, so we take down this pot. Got ourselves another bomb pot here. Going to be quite a few of these since they play them so frequently. And we're looking down at Jack 10 7-5, single suited to the Jack high suit. Top board is 9-6-5 with 2 diamonds. Bottom board is Jack 9-8 with 2 spades. So we have the second nut straight on that bottom board and a marginal flush draw on the top board. So we bet out pot 200 here. In hindsight, I don't particularly like this bet. We could be losing to queen 10, and if we get raised, it's a pretty terrible spot. As it's played though, we bet 200 and 4 people call, so not many good turn cards that can come. Already not feeling great about this spot, especially being out of position. Turn on the bottom board is the Jack of Hearts, giving us trips, and the turn on the top board is the 9 of Hearts. So now our flush draw is essentially dead because the board is paired. And yeah, someone could have a full house now on that board. We do have trips, so we can build up ourselves. But action ends up checking through. Bottom board river is ace of spades. Top board river is the 8 of spades. So the flush gets there on that board where we once had a straight. So yeah, our hand is just completely dead now. Terrible run out. It checks over to middle position player who bets 1,000 and everybody folds. Back to real poker here. There's an under the gun open to 20, early and middle position call, so we call hijack and button now 3 bets to 75. Early and middle position call, so we put in the call as well. 4 ways to the flop with 335 in the pot. The flop is king 9-4 with 2 spades, and we have ace 7 of spades, so this is the exact type of flop we were looking for. It checks over to the 3-better pre-flop who now bets 250. Early position calls, and yeah, this is just a Spider-Man 5 no way home situation. I'm not about to call 250 here and leave 300 behind, so only move here is all in, so we move in for 550. The button gets a count now before flicking in the call, and now the early position player calls as well. So this pot has ballooned pretty quickly here. Definitely think I'm way behind, so I'm praying for a spade here, obviously. Turn is a lousy deuce, no help. Deuce of diamonds. Yeah, like if we were deeper here, sometimes we could just call and try to keep in weaker flush draws, but with our stack size here and the stack to pot ratio, this is the easiest all-in of my life. Calling would be absolutely horrible. So after early position checks, now the button bets 1,000, so definitely think he's got a strong hand here. He's not bluffing into this dry side pot, I don't think. So early position folds, so we are praying for the spade here. One time, please. Let's get some suspense going here. Can we bank it? The river is another deuce, and it's not a spade. So we're basically dead. It's the deuce of hearts. I tell him I missed, and he shows ace king, and we lose. After getting stacked in that last hand, we added on for $800, and once again, we are back in the bomb pot streets. So we put in our 25, and off to the flop we go. The bottom board, the flop is 6-5-3 with 2 spades. The top board, the flop is 8-7 deuce rainbow. So we have top set on the bottom and a gut shot straight draw on the top board. So we have nut potential here on both boards. Obviously a straight's already available on the bottom board. Early position player bets pot $200. Middle position calls, and definitely not folding this. So we call 200. And now the cutoff and button call as well. So this pot has ballooned pretty quickly here. On the bottom board, the turn is the 10 of spades, and the top board is the 5 of diamonds. So not much help here for us, and everybody ends up checking through here. The river on the bottom board is the ace of diamonds, and the top board is the 5 of hearts. So yeah, terrible run out here for us. We're not able to boat up on that bottom board. A flush even got there. And on the top, we have basically nothing. So early position player checks, and now middle position bets 100. And yeah, it looks like we're getting 12-1 here, but really we're not. We really only have half of this board locked up at best. But just in case he's going for that other board, we flick in the call. Cutoff and button both fold, and the early position player calls, and he has 7-4 for the flop straight. And middle position has the other board locked up, so we get scooped here. Really, we're only getting 6-1 here on a call since we're only winning half this pot at best, and with players still left to act behind, this call is absolutely terrible, but that is how this hand played out, so on to the next hand. Added on $700 more after that last hand, so in the game for a total of $22.50 now, and looking down at pocket aces. Under the gun raises to 15, so we 3-bet to 45 from the low jack. Folds around to under the gun, who calls, and we're off to a flop of king, queen, 10, 2 hearts, and 1 diamond. So he checks in the dark, and we just check it back. It's a pretty connected, scary flop. Don't want to get check raised. So he checks again, and definitely going for value now. We bet 45, trying to target draws, queen X, king X. He calls, and the river is a queen, so not particularly great if he has a queen. Now we're beat, but I don't think he's just going to snap check a queen here. So definitely going for value, targeting 10x, maybe a king. I don't really think he has a king. Maybe a lower pair, misdraw. So we bet 55 here. Like I said, I don't think he has a super strong hand, so I want to price him in to be able to call here. And if we get raised, it's not going to be a huge amount, and we can probably just call it off. He does end up folding though, so we take this one down. Under the gun straddles to 10, and early and middle position both call. So we go ahead and raise to 70 here. These guys are pretty loose, splashy players, so I think they're gonna call. Pretty inelastic to sizing, and I don't want this to go like 5 ways if I make it 45 or 50 here. So we go 70, and both of them end up calling. 3 ways to the flop here. Flop is king, queen, deuce with 2 diamonds. So they both check it over to me, and definitely need to bet pretty good size here. It's multi-way, so I don't think 2/3 is quite necessary, but somewhere in that region, at least half pot. So we bet 130 here. Early position calls, and middle position calls as well. Turn is the 4 of clubs, so great turn card for us. No diamond, just a complete brick. They both check it over, and definitely need to deny equity to flush draws and various draws here. So coming up with the sizing, there's 625 in the pot. I don't want to just blast some insane amount, but I definitely want to bet a good size bet here. Set up a river jam on clean rivers. So we bet 370 here. Early position folds, and middle position folds as well, so happy to just take this one down with no river. Next up here, looking down at king, queen suited of the spades variety. There's a straddle to 20. Under the gun, it calls the 20. Folds around to us in the big blind, and we call. Could definitely squeeze here. Should have squeezed here, but we didn't. $10 straddle calls 10 more, and the $20 straddle checks his options. So 4 ways to the flop here. The flop is 10-9-3 with 2 spades, so we have the gut shot straight draw to the jack and king high flush draw, so great flop here for us. Checks over to under the gun, who bets 50, and he's got about 450 behind. A couple of the other players still in the hand do have us covered. We have about 1200, but unless they have the ace high flush draw, we can really never be in that bad a shape. And just based how the hand is played out, I don't think they do. So I'm gonna apply some pressure here to his 10x holdings. So we check raise to $280 here. He's just got the perfect stack size here to apply pressure. So folds to him, and he pretty quickly shoves for 450. We snap call. Turn is the 5 of hearts, river, queen of clubs. So we do river top pair, but unfortunately it is not enough. He has 10-9 offsuit, 10 of spades, 9 of clubs. So he flopped 2 pair, and we did not get there. Last hand gonna be worthy of recording here. There's a straddle to $40, folds to the small blind, who makes it 130. Complete maniac player on his $3,000 or $4,000 bullet already, who was just shoving blind with random hands at this point. So we rip it in for $1165.
You okay?
He eventually does call with Jack 10 offsuit. So Ace King offsuit versus Jack 10 offsuit, and we agree to run it 3 times. So kind of interesting here. I actually kind of like running it 3 times. You want to go twice or once?
Risk reward situation.
Go twice.
3 times? Can we do 3 times? Even number?
I would do it 3, but I don't know. I don't think you could do it.
You're allowed to do it 3 times. Are you?
You're allowed? I'll do 3.
3 times.
So we are off to our first board, and ace high holds for the first one. He does bank a jack on this second flop here, so he's going to take the second. All tied up here, going to this last board, and he hits a jack again. Ace or king, ace or king. But we hit the king on the turn and hold up through the river, so we are going to get 2/3 of this pot here, and that's the last hand we are going to record here. After that last all in with ace king there, we pretty much just bled away chips for the next hour, missing our sets with our pocket pairs, missing the board with our broadways. So when the game breaks at 11:30, we cash out 13.32 after being in the game for 22.50. So that's a loss of 9.18 playing 5-5, but we did make 152 playing 1-2. So overall, it's a loss of minus 766 for the night. All things considered, I'm not too disappointed with how we played. I think we just ran really poorly, couldn't hit any of our draws, couldn't really make any big hands. So that's just the way it goes sometimes. Wasn't the most interesting session by any means. Wasn't that many crazy hands or anything. But that is just the way it works out sometimes. I'm trying to not be results oriented here. And if we decide to make a vlog, just roll with it no matter what. So that's what we did here. Anyways, I want to thank you guys for tuning in wherever you're at in the world. Thank you guys for your support. And we will catch you next episode.